had a look with the penalty, and he should have had a look there as well.
But look at this, the stats kind of sum it up quite nicely about how open this game is. Barcelona with a 5-4 victory. Just taking a look, remember, it's the top 8 who automatically qualify. They get a bye in the knockout stages, and Barca are good for it, aren't they now? They've clinched around the 16th berth. Liverpool, we'll talk about it a little bit later, as they top the Champions League at this stage. For more on this, let's welcome in, shall we, Stewart Robson. Robbo, you're, of course, the voice of FIFA. This is very much like a computer game.
It certainly was. I mean, it was all action, wasn't it? Lots of decisions the referee had to make, some great goals, some poor defending. I mean, some of the defending, you saw Barcelona at some of their best when they were attacking and scoring goals. Again, some of the worst, because Benfica obviously had a game plan early on, the switches of play, and they caught a 2v1 against Koundé. The goalkeeper, what was he doing for the first goal? His starting position was about 10 yards outside the box, and he ended up about 30 yards outside the box. It's madness, some of their defending, but it makes for entertaining football, and it was a great game to watch. And in the end, when you have 22 shots to 10, you probably just about deserve to win the game.
Yeah, but it's crazy how Barcelona just are so open at times.
Yeah. And we showed that Di Maria going through and goal. There were other instances where they'd squeezed up and one sort of pretty simplistic ball got Benfica in behind, and either it was, missed the target or Szczesny had to make another save. It was just bonkers, wasn't it?
Yeah,
I mean,
it really was.
The goalkeeping errors, the defensive frailties of both sides, the openness of it. The fact that Barcelona, I think, played, and Liverpool were the same, are in a pretty healthy position. They've had injuries this season, like a lot of teams, and they played. I was quite surprised by the teams that we saw.
Full strength, wasn't it?
The Liverpools and the Barcelona fielding. Bearing in mind the situation they're in this new format is very comfortable for them, and this was a strong Barca side. Obviously, Szczesny made some good saves that Stevie mentioned during the game. But as a guy that's come in off the beach, basically, is what he did a couple of months ago or whatever it was, that's not filling Hansi Flick full of confidence with his decision-making. I mean, to come out and basically almost wipe one of your own players.
This is the way he wants them to defend. And it only works if everybody's working on the same hymn sheet, but they're also pressing the ball and stopping the opposition having time on the ball. That wasn't the case today. The pitch looked too big for Barcelona's players today. So the Benfica players had time on the ball. They could pick their passes. The players in the front areas can bend their runs and stay onside. That big diagonal was causing problems. The more teams watch of Barcelona, the more trouble they're going to have. It was surprising. I was watching British TV, and the co-commentator said, and I won't say who it was, after 10 minutes, Barcelona play a high line, don't they? They could be in trouble here. Well,
wow.
He obviously hasn't seen Barcelona play for quite some while, because that's what they do week in, week out.
They don't play in the Premier League, Rob. Well, that's why. I mean, we're playing it's all about the Premier League, isn't it? I think going back to that incident just before the Rafinha goal, I think it was Fermin Lopez. I think he just, to be fair to him, he's almost over the back of the player, then he realises and he sort of pulls back.
Okay.
And I think for that reason, when VAR looks at it, because there's definitely nothing from Szczesny, he comes out and plays the ball. I think probably for that reason, as VAR's looked at it and went, is there enough of a shove or is there a shove? I mean, we haven't got anything definitive, but it's the only thing I can think of. The other side of it is, there was 3 or 4 occasions, and Barca won the game, there was 3 or 4 occasions they were playing offside, half a yard from the halfway line. I mean, you're talking about a risk, because, I mean, most people know you can't be offside in your own half, so all you've got to do is bend your run a little bit better, and you are so far up the field. But this, although defensively they looked frail at times against this Benfica side, and there was a lot of room, these are the games where Barca look exciting, against a team that wants to play against them. Against the Getafes of this world, like we saw at the weekend, teams that sit deep, don't allow Rafinha space, don't allow Lewandowski space, Lamine Yamal, they deny them the space, they double up. That's the games that they're going to have to figure out how to break teams down. Games like the Benfica game, and these against teams that are a bit more open, you'll have to figure yourself out defensively. But the space that the Pedris, Yamal, Rafinha, they have to operate in, they're going to kill you at the other end. The problem is, it's very difficult to see yourself scoring 3 and 4 every game. So at some point, from a defensive aspect, you're going to have to be better. He said it watching the game, he said, Real Madrid could win this league again without playing brilliantly, because Barcelona could gift it for them with their defensive mistakes.
It's not even a high line. It's a ridiculous line.
Right.
Because when Craig's talking about they're standing a yard off the halfway line trying to play offside, that is just madness. I mean, it really is. And in terms of today, I kind of go the other way for Craig. I think it's a penalty. There's no question he bumps him. And so when we start talking about how hard was the bump, for me the point is he bumps him.
No, what I'm saying is I don't know. Because they didn't really go back.
No, there was never a definitive
They didn't go back on the broadcast with a close-up and saying, look, here it is.
I blame Robbo's co-commentator.
Yeah.
I think Laporta's been on the phone. Right. La Liga 1 week, UEFA the next week. Do not. So we didn't see a real definitive close-up of that.
They got away with it today, and they get away with the way they're playing because they're in such a good position.
Yeah.
Because it could have been 6. It could have been 6 each or 7 each today, quite honestly.
Really,
but they won.
Yes,
and
exactly.
They're very anti-Barcelona.
I'm sure any Barcelona fan would admit that.
What? You mean they've got common sense?
One positive thing, again, Robbo, is that when you saw it, as Craig mentioned during the hype, when you saw it as Rafinha with that space, with the way he's playing this season, you almost knew it was going to end up in a goal.
He's finishing. He has been absolutely magnificent this season.
It's what they thought they were going to get from Ousmane Dembele.
Yes.
They thought they were going to get that pace, that directness, and the end product. And, one of the things with Dembele that's a huge difference to Rafinha, particularly this season, but even to some extent last, is Rafinha's end product compared to what Dembele was. Dembele's so erratic. And so when you're playing at this level with this sort of pressure at Barcelona, you have to be clinical in the final third, and the two wide guys for Barcelona are very much that.
Rafinha, I think, no question at the moment, the best Brazilian in the world. And, of course, you can see Barcelona and Rafinha in action on ESPN Plus this weekend as La Liga coverage continues. It's the late game on Sunday for Barca, and the late game for Real Madrid on Saturday. Real Madrid away against Valladolid, and Sunday sees Barca take on Valencia. All these games live on ESPN Plus. Into the next round, meaning they won't have to play anyone in the round of 16. There it is, the Liverpool first then. They can't be caught now at the top of the table. For more on this, Frank Leboeuf joins us. Stevie, job done?
Yeah, job done. Made a few changes as well. 3 of the back 4 were missing. Made 2 changes in the middle of the park at half-time. Rotated, won the game.
Yep.
Straightforward, nice and easy. Touch wood, no injuries. March on.
Frank Leboeuf, what would you like to say?
Well, I agree with Stevie. I think Liverpool didn't force themselves to win that game. They were much better than Lille. Maybe didn't show it all the time and during the whole game, but they knew that if they wanted, they could get another goal. So nothing much to say. That courageous Lillois, they've done the job. Even 10 against 11, they tried to work hard, and they got the how do you say, the goal, and they equalized. But overall, we could feel that Liverpool were much better than Lille. But hard off to Lille and their campaign, because they worked very hard. And they almost showed that League One is better than Premier League, almost.
Oh.
It's hard to find anybody. I don't want to be looking too far out here, but there is nobody, I don't think, across the board stronger at the moment in every position. They're
consistently.
Not. There isn't really a weakness. Maybe you could look at one part of the defence now and again if Andy Robertson's not playing well, or Alexander Arnold, but you couldn't say the defence is weak. You couldn't say the midfield's weak. You couldn't say the attack's weak.
You look, everyone below them have got much stronger weaknesses, I think.
That's the others have more problems to deal with at the moment. And when you win 7 out of 7 in the Champions League, no matter what the format is, and you've only conceded 2 goals, in 7 games in the Champions League, that's pretty good. Now, things can change quickly, but they are. If you look at Barcelona, for example, obviously that Barcelona front line would cause Liverpool problems. But you do feel Liverpool have the game awareness and brains to open that back 4 up.
We could look at the 5 after Liverpool.
Yep.
And pick problems that are probably glaring problems from all of those, all the way to Bayern. Every single team, we could pick problems, glaring ones, that you can't do with Liverpool. I mean, that's what position to be in. Yeah. Unfortunately, it's only January.
Sure.
The key is, I think the key is no injuries. If they don't get any injuries, there is no reason why they can't just keep rolling along the way they are.
What would you prefer, the league or the Champions League?
I prefer the league.
Frank, do you agree? Liverpool the strongest across the board?
Yes, I do agree, and I think even the bench is strong. I mean, every time somebody comes on, is performant, and there is nothing much to say. And we can compare with any other teams. And I was watching the highlights of Barcelona. If offensively they're very good, they're so weak defensively. And you can say for any other team, you know, Manchester City in the middle of the park, even if they're getting better, they have weaknesses this year in that section. So every teams have a problem, but I would say Liverpool, because even if they have people injured, they can substitute somebody and it's going to be effective. So, yeah, I don't see anybody better than Liverpool this season.
Of course, anything can happen in the knockout stages. Yeah. How much credit should Slot get for all of this, Stevie?
Oh, huge. Huge. I mean, everybody, not just Liverpool fans, were thinking, what happened to Man United when Fergie left?
Sure.
I mean, and that's kind of the... I don't think it was quite that bad, but because Slot was left a good squad of players. So I think we understood that they weren't going to struggle, but were they going to be good enough to compete for the Premier League with Man City in particular? And right now, 100% they are. And huge, absolutely huge compliments have to go to the manager for that.
But it does help that Man City are not in it.
Of course.
That's not taking anything away from Liverpool.
No.
But you haven't got that added pressure because they're miles off. I think they're 12 points off and Liverpool have a game in hand, so it technically could be 15. And obviously Arsenal have got their issues, but you've still got to go and do it for yourself. Yeah. And there's no question by quite some stretch, apart from the odd blip, Liverpool and England have been the best team thus far, and I suppose Europe, this season. The big question is, can they keep it going?
3 points. It means, we don't want this one. We wanted the other one, which shows that both Atleti and Bayer Leverkusen are there as it stands to get a bye through to the next round. Let's welcome in, shall we, Stewart Robson, who's watching this game as well for us, Robbo. Go on, Atleti. What do you say?
Well, the best thing that happened to them was that they had a player sent off after about however many minutes it was, because up until that point, Bayer Leverkusen were completely dominating the game. Frimpong was going past Galán at ease. They were controlling the midfield, and Atleti were being booed by their own fans because they couldn't get near the ball. But as soon as they had the player sent off, they showed more resilience, they showed more fight. They obviously wanted it to be a battle. They tried to wind up Leverkusen, and Leverkusen went away from what they were doing. And the two goals from Alvarez were goals out of nothing. One ball played in behind. The second one was just a pump-up field, which Leverkusen didn't deal with. I think Leverkusen lost this game. They were in complete control, 1-0 up against 10 men, and they lost their bottle. They got involved in lots of little skirmishes, exactly what Atleti wanted. Yep. And you have to say, they didn't defend two balls that were just played over the top. You know, the Tar made a mistake for the first, but Rini Grimaldo should have seen it coming much earlier on and been round on the cover. And the second one, they just didn't deal with the ball over the top, or the ball that was played forward. It was a poor second-half performance from Leverkusen. And you have to say, he made a very good change at half-time. Ronaldo coming on at left-back for Galán was a masterstroke by Simeone. He stopped Frimpong playing in that second half.
They just can't. They just do that to people, don't they, Atleti?
Absolutely.
I mean, there was the Barcelona game. Was it just before the winter break?
Yeah. They did it to PSG as well in this competition.